welcome to Scrollin', a podcast about the Elder Scrolls Online. I'm Ket.
I'm Davius.
And this is episode number 54. Lady Laurent Stibbons freaking cracked me up. She's so, abusive to him.
So mean to him.
And never... Did you do that? Yeah, I guess you did. Do you remember it?
Oh, yeah.
So funny.
Yeah. With the clones and
the clones and all that.
She's like, they're obsessed with me, but...
Yeah, and she's like, of course his clones are incompetent. You know? She just keeps talking trash about him, even though he's in this dire situation.
He's kidnapped. He's literally kidnapped, and she's like, oh, look what he's done this time.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like nearly as much of a up. I'm going to bleep that out. I talked myself into a corner where there was nothing else to say.
There was no way out. Yeah, I mean, he just, I mean, even when you talk to him though, he's always talking about how happy he is and he loves his post, and it's a weird dynamic for sure, but it is funny. It is really hilarious.
Joss is also hilarious. He's like exactly the same as in Ruins of Mazatude. He's always like acting like he's very, very brave and stuff, but then when it comes down to it, he's like conveniently missing, or he faints or something like that. And then just as the fight's wrapping up, he's charging in, ready to go. I was like, oh, you guys already... Okay. All right, cool.
I like how when you talk to the other people around him too, they're like, well, he's...
they kind of speak delicately about...
he's something. He's really something.
Yeah, he's unique. I liked him though. And I like how ultimately at the end of that quest too, he was very, despite his silliness, he's very friendly, very mirthful, and I felt like we were definitely like buddies. You know?
He's a good guy.
Yeah, he means well. He wants to be brave.
He does.
He does. Despite it all, he at least desires to be that.
He does want that.
Good old Jaws.
Have you done the? I don't know the exact name of the quest, but it involves the 4 winds.
I don't think so.
It's on the southern edge. It's a side quest.
Well, I don't know. I feel like I've cleared most of that area, so maybe I did.
It's a side quest where it's like a village, and you have to recruit these guys to help the village. That's not ringing any bells. I don't think you've done it yet, but.
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah, there was like these protectors that used to protect the place, and then they stopped for some reason. Yeah.
That was one of my more favorite side quests. I like that you had to go and get these people, and it was like, I felt like it was really in-depth for a side quest, which was pretty cool. Yeah.
I really like exploring Argonian culture and customs and that sort of stuff, and they're so varied. There's all sorts of different kinds of Argonian cultures and stuff. They're probably, you've said it before, and it's probably true. I think they are my favorite race, even though I only have one Argonian. But that's just because of, passives and min-maxing and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But as far as just like the what I like as far as their character and stuff, I really like Argonians.
Argonians are your favorite.
They're cool. They're just so silly. And I like the Aztec-looking kind of old, ancient architecture and stuff.
Yeah. It seems like they have, some of the more old lore in the game, but they've made it really cool because it's like they don't even understand. It's like, well, this building's really old. We don't really know why our ancestors did. It's, so old that nobody really, remembers it or knows how they built it.
Do they have a thing where they don't really keep records and stuff like that? Is that how they are?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Huh. That's interesting.
Even in this zone, there's a lot of talk where they're like, yeah, that's really ancient and important, civilizations that were built there, and it's like we don't really remember how we built it or why we did it, but we really respect it.
Now that you mention it, I did a side quest just this morning where some village elder was using some ancient power that their ancestors had been messing around with. He's like, I don't know what it does, but it totally messed everything up. And, of course, I saved the day. And they said they'd pay me handsomely, but,
Handsomely to some NPCs, it's like 200 gold.
Yeah, there's some poor folks, man. They
ain't got a lot of gold.
Not a lot of gold, not a lot of valuables. I'm like, thanks, guys.
I always crack up when they try to act like they're cheating you. They're like, I'll give you that information if you pay me handsomely. And you're like, what? And then they're like, for 49 gold. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's fine. You twisted my arm. You got it. Here's your 49 gold.
Anytime there's an option to pay or lie or whatever, just pay. Just do the pay. It's never, there's never a reason not to.
There's one quest in Blackwood.
Unless you're maybe level 1, never play the game and hardly have anything, maybe. But
there's a quest in Blackwood where it's actually, you can pay 50 gold or leave the town and go do a series of quests. And they're like, which one are you going to do? And I was like, absolutely paying the gold. I'm not going to go collect this stuff outside of the city. I was like, oh.
I bet there are some players that would choose that option, though. Just if that's what they're here for, is quests and exploration and stuff, maybe they would choose that route.
If I thought I was getting more content out of it, I felt like it was just going and
just fetch.
Yeah,
fetch
just
stuff.
Killing mobs to collect something. There's nothing more extra, I don't think, that I could get.
Oh yeah, well in that case, 50 gold.
I just thought it was funny. I was like, who's like, that's too steep for me.
Ooh, 50. I guess I'll go kill those mobs. I'll be back in a couple of days.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we can get into it. So this is a new patch. It's a new meta, kind of a new paradigm. It's a lot different situation as far as PvP and Battlegrounds goes. And as far as PvP goes, Battlegrounds is primarily what we do, right, Davius?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So periodically, we like to do something that I call the BG report, where a new patch drops, a new meta is in place, and right now that's very much the case. It's a very new situation. So it's been a couple of weeks now, and I think it's a good time to just kind of check in and see what the situation is in Battlegrounds, how the different classes and different specs are kind of stacking up against each other, and just kind of making some general observations along the way. Probably the easiest way to get through the BG report is to just talk about the class ranking, like how we think, who we think is the number one spec, and just kind of go down the list. First of all, I will give a little bit of a, what's the word? Disclaimer.
There it is.
There we go. Sorry, I had a whiskey, so. This is just the BG report according to Scroll and a podcast about the Elder Scrolls Online, right? This is just me and Davius. We play some BGs. This is what we seem to be observing, how things seem to be going so far based on what we see, So some other Scroll and podcasts, maybe they have a different take on things. This is just how we see it. So keep that in mind. So class ranking. Number 1.
Oh, yeah.
Davius, tell me if you agree. It's magSorcs again.
magSorcs are back. They're back to being the best. They're
back big time. To the point where, I was saying this in Guild Chat the other day. It feels weird. I'm getting so frustrated at magSorcs here lately in BGs because there's so many of them and they're so good and so effective. But it's infuriating, but it almost feels good to hate magSorcs again. It's like it feels good to be in that kind of meta where once again magSorcs are the ones that everyone is just kind of mad at all the time.
They've retaken their throne, and I can't believe that there was a point where I was feeling sorry for magSorcs a little bit.
Yeah.
I was I was thinking, man, they used
the mighty had
to run
fallen
things.
There for a while. Yeah.
And then you just couldn't see any, and man, they are back with a vengeance right now.
So I know we talked a couple episodes ago about how these stat increases have hugely benefited all Magicka builds, but I think really they've benefited magSorcs maybe more than anyone else because the increased stamina pool, for example, not only is that good for dodging, blocking, breaking free, all that good stuff, but on a Magicka sorcerer, that also means more sustain and more healing, thanks to the ability Dark Exchange, right? Dark Exchange is the ability they use to trade stamina for additional magicka, and it's a pretty good burst heal as well.
Yep.
So just a free extra amount of stamina in their stamina pool, that just equals additional sustain, additional heals without having to invest in anything. They just got that for free.
Yeah, and on a good mag sork, that is their sustain. I mean, that's
all of their sustain.
They don't put any points into sustain. They just utilize that ability.
It's very common for sorks to just invest completely into offense entirely, and just use Dark Exchange as their sustain tool. Absolutely. And similarly, mag sorks often don't need to invest in a large health pool like other builds do either, because of their shield stacking, which is a common defense of theirs, that artificially increases their health bar by quite a bit. And so it's pretty common, even still right now in today's meta, for mag sorks to be running around with like 25k health. But, half of that health bar is covered up by a damage shield as well. So again, they're not having to invest into sustain, because that's taken care of, and they're not having to invest into a health pool either. So they're just investing into offensive stats instead. And by the same token, I think they don't really have to invest in defense all that much outside of just their standard toolkit that they use for defense. Streak, dark deal, shield stacking.
They have a little defensive ability called streak.
yeah. That alone is a very, very good defensive ability. But on top of that, the shield stacking, dark deal, and just the typical kind of back bar that you would see on a Magicka build. Like maybe they have the Resto Ultimate, maybe they have Radiating Regen. Yep. So they're just doing really, really, really good right now. It's infuriating because when mag sorks are doing good, it's more infuriating than anything else, because they become popular. More and more people start playing them. And because they're the only spec that can do lots and lots of damage from really long range. Yes. And when you have 3 or 4 mag sorks on a map and you're not a ranged build at all, it can feel just like utterly hopeless. Like you can't do anything.
You're just a target dummy running around for them is what it feels like.
Yeah, it really feels that way. Like you just have to be on a mag sork to do anything in those kinds of matches. It's not every match, but it's a lot of them lately.
Yeah, and the damage, the stat increases were fantastic for a mag sork. Their three main moves that a mag sork will get you with are the Crystal Frags, Haunting Curse, and Mage's Wrath. And those all were just massively buffed with those stat increases and the damage invested in them. And man, like you said, that range, and it's hard, it's hard. I should say it's hard. It's very easily to get frustrated with a mag sork, but it's hard to be mad at them because they're playing, if they're playing the class right, you should never be able to hit them. They come in, they hit you with everything, they streak away, and then they're hitting stuff, if you try to, go after them, then they can streak away. You can't get a hold of them, so then you go away. Then they streak back, and they're hitting you at range.
Yeah, it's easy to get frustrated, but you can't blame them for just using their best skills.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, that's the way to play, is that you shouldn't be able to really, hit them or get a hold of them. And then when you do, they can get out real quick. And they're just hammering, these skills at range. And they're just pestering you from a distance. And you can't keep up with them. Oh, it's brutal.
Yeah,
it's oppressive.
People like to complain about pet sorks and like zoo sorks, and that's annoying as well. But even just taking pets completely out of the equation, if you're up against like a whole team of mag sorks, if you're a melee player, man, it can be hopeless. It can feel hopeless.
Some of the BGs right now too, with like you said, all of these sorks in there. When you're playing a non-sork character in there, and you run into kind of a fight, and there's a big dog pile of a fight, and then there's streak happens, you finally get her out, then streak happens again, 5 seconds, and it's just like, sometimes you just feel like you're just tied down for half the match because there's just these streaks going everywhere.
Yeah, and a couple of patches ago, streak didn't seem so bad because they were more limited in how much they could streak, like with these increased stat pools now, they can streak so much more. And then, they have a lot more stamina, so they can they can trade that stamina for magicka to continue streaking, so they really can just go on and on and on and on. And it can be frustrating because they can just engage and disengage at will. And unless you have streak also on your bar, there's not a ton you can do about it. Even having a gap closer, it's not enough a lot of the time.
Yeah, and you said that engage, disengage, that is it. I mean, how many times in Battlegrounds have we, we'll get a Sork down, he'll dark exchange, heal up, streak away, and then we'll just go, forget him, it's a Sork, we can't catch him. We'll turn around, pick a fight, and then...
Yeah, then he's back.
Yeah, then he's back hitting us behind it, then he's right back hitting us behind, both were in this other fight. And so it's tough right now. It's tough.
So mag Sorks are back on top. It kind of feels good in a way just because I like being in a meta where that's the case, but at the same time,
it's familiar.
I'm already kind of tired of mag Sorks. I would say number 2 on this list is stamina sorcerers, and it's for a lot of similar reasons, right? They have streak. That's a big reason. Also, like with mag Sorks having an increased stamina pool, kind of the converse is true for stam Sorks, right? More magicka, because they use the other morph Dark Deal, where they trade magicka for additional stamina and health. So that's their sustain investment. They really hardly require any sustain investment otherwise. So minimal sustain investment required, minimal defensive investment required, I think, because of streak and Dark Deal, critical surge, and vigor. In my experience, that seems to be a very effective kit for staying alive. And they're just uniquely capable of stacking tons and tons of damage because they don't have to invest in those other things. So it's similar to mag Sork. They just have a lot of stuff going for them that allows them to just invest in offense.
Yeah, it's just that built-in mobility. It's just off the charts, and it's just built in. You don't really have to invest a whole lot to get that crazy mobility. And like you said, the damage just gets to pretty extreme levels.
Yeah, and it's the same thing we were saying about mag Sorks, where it can be infuriating because they can engage and disengage at will. I don't know. I think they're probably even better at it than mag Sorks. They can't streak as much, but since they're stamina builds, they can dodge a lot more. They can run a lot faster and a lot further, and mix that up with streak. I think they actually have superior mobility.
Yeah, and with mag Sork and stam Sork, there's been so many times where I'll get in a fight in a battleground, and I know this isn't just me, where you actually do end up with the upper hand on the Sork, and you're thinking, all right, I'm about to win this fight. They streak away, you kind of chase for a bit, they get away, you're like, all right, didn't happen. Then you go, they re-engage, they heal up, they re-engage.
Yeah, now they have their ultimate, so they zip back.
and then even if somehow you miraculously start, get the upper hand a second time in the fight, then they streak away, disengage, and then you're thinking,
Dark
all right,
Deal, get their resources back.
Yeah. And then that third time they come back and they finish you, and it's just like, man, that you knew it was going to happen on that first fight. It was just dragged out over 3 fights.
It's like if they didn't have one ability slotted, you would have won that fight. Yeah, that's how it is, and you can't, like you said, you can't blame them.
Yeah, you can't blame them. It's just good play. It's good play. From a Sork, that's what they're designed to do. And
really, I mean, you can't blame them for playing a stam Sork either, because a bullet point I made here is that they are incredibly fun to play. It's probably the funnest spec, in my opinion, to play in this game, even though I hardly ever play mine because I feel like dirty playing it. It's seriously as easy mode, I think. If you like that kind of speedy, kitey kind of hit and run play style, man, it's there's none better, that's for sure.
Yeah. The only way to get that speedy playstyle on different classes is you throw Wild Hunt. Sorks just kind of have it built in with streak.
Yeah, and
critical
they
surge.
Get not critical surge, but hurricane. Their armor buff gives them
that's what I mean.
Minor expedition. Yeah. Okay, so that's number 2, stam Sork. Number 3, in my opinion, is magicka Warden. Now, not necessarily for their ability to get lots and lots of kills, but they are by far number 1 group support, I believe. And when we're talking about battlegrounds, I've said this before about wardens. It's pretty much true every single patch. If there's a warden on your team, you're probably going to win. If the other if you have a warden and the other teams don't, you're probably going to win.
Yeah, I think that's where, because I think warden, magic, or stamina is pretty interchangeable here. But I do think that's why magical warden takes the spot here, because if you're in a battleground and you're going against a team and they have a stamina warden, it's probably going to be a pain in the butt to deal with that guy. But if you're going against a team and they have a magical warden, their whole team is now a pain in the butt to deal with.
That's a great way to put it, for sure. They have, bar none, they are the best supports that you can put into a battleground, in our opinion. And at the same time, they have very good damage. They may not finish off all the kills, but they're throwing in a lot of supplemental damage. Yeah. They can hold their own in a 1v1 fight, no problem. Yeah. Plus the fact that they just can't die, more or less. Like you can't freaking kill a mag warden, especially if they're on a decent team with good support and stuff like that. They just don't die. Yeah,
and an emphasis on what you said. That's a note I made. It's just sneaky good damage on a support build. They'll, don't underestimate the burst that they could throw at you just because it's a support.
On my magDen Lola, I play her strictly as a healer, but I cast sub-assault every 3 seconds, and it's like sub-assault, then make sure all my hots are going, and then sub-assault, make sure all my hots are going, and it's just that over and over and over again, pretty much.
Yeah, and she gets good damage. I mean, by the end of the match for a support build, she gets pretty good damage.
Number 4, I would say, is Stamina Warden, and they're just kind of like the yin to the Mag Warden's yang, right? Like Mag Warden, supreme support with very good damage. Stam Warden, extremely good AoE burst damage with also good group support.
Yeah. It's interesting that the Mag Warden, best heals, best support in the game. Stam Warden, the best stamina support in the game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's Stam Warden. They are unique in that they can straight up just be a healer if they want to be as a stamina spec, and they can be pretty effective at that. I don't see a lot of Stam Wardens choosing to build themselves that way. Like most of them they're just trying to get lots and lots of kills, and they're very good at that.
They get lots and lots of kills.
Yeah. If a brawler, like toe-to-toe, just get in someone's face and duke it out, tanky sort of bruiser sort of build, there is none better.
Yeah.
Stam Warden is the very best at that play style, for sure.
It's really terrifying when a really talented player gets behind the wheel of a Stam Warden, because it's oof.
They just take on the whole battleground, man.
It's not fair. You're like, hey, there's certain players out there like, hey, you can't play Warden. That's not fair.
Yeah.
You can't play Warden. Come on.
You're too good to play Warden. Banned from Warden. That should be a thing. Like they should just get an email from ZOS.
Yeah. Hey.
You've been temporarily banned from this class because you're too good.
We've taken Warden. We've reviewed some footage. We've taken Warden away from you.
Check back in 6 months. And like Mag Wardens, they basically don't die. Like they have incredibly good self-survivability. And like we said, they can have good group support as well, but especially their own personal survivability, it's very difficult to kill a Stam Warden 1v1.
And, an underestimated thing about the Warden is the best self-cleansing class in the game, because it's just automatic and it's free.
You could maybe argue stamPlar on that, because they can cleanse pretty easily.
Yeah.
And also like they have that cleanse, and that's really their only magicka dump, so it's like easy to just cleanse as much as they need to.
Yeah.
For the most part, but
you still gotta cast it.
Yeah, but you are very right about that, and that's just one of the things that like make both magicka and Stam Warden so good, is because they have such a complete toolkit. They have everything. They have the important buffs that you need in your build, the important like abilities that you need in a build. Like really, you can make an incredibly effective PvP build and not go outside of the class at all. Right? Yeah. Don't use any weapon abilities or anything, and have a totally like well-rounded complete build that gets good results.
They really do have a little bit of everything. They've got AoE, they've got range, they've got heals, they've got cleanse, they've got support, they've got the buffs. It's pretty wild.
I think the buffs that they have is one of the big ones. I think that gives them a lot of flexibility in how they want to, like each player, how they want to build their warden and stuff like that. It's really easy to sort of cater your warden build to play the way you like them to play, and have the stuff that's important for you in your build.
Yeah.
So, which kind of brings us to number 5, which is Stamina Necromancer. I think they go they come very close to taking to like tying with Stamina Warden. I think on this list, but I think they do come down like half a notch, basically because of all the reasons we were just now talking about, with Wardens having so many buffs and everything that they need within their class. Kind of the opposite is true for Necromancers. They're lacking a lot of important buffs, and they have no choice but to go outside of their class to find those buffs and put them in their builds. So I think that brings them down just a little bit. They also just don't quite have the survivability that Wardens do. Like I can kill a Necromancer once in a while. They are tanky. It's like they're a very good brawler. They're great bruisers. They can get in the fray and stay there, and they do great in that regard, but not quite as good as Wardens, I don't think.
The one thing I will say, and this goes for Stam Necro and Mag Necro, but the one thing I'll say, and it's probably in my top 3 frustration points in a BG, is that when you do get them down and you're like, all right, they're in execute, let me finish this, let me get this kill real quick. There it is.
Here it comes.
The Goliath transformation.
Every time.
You're just,
every single time.
There it is. There goes that kill. And it's so demoralizing. I mean, you just switch targets. You don't even try anymore. You're like, all right, well, that fight's over. I unloaded, put everything into that fight, got him down. Now I'm just moving on to the next fight or next character.
Yeah.
So I will say, I agree. They don't have the survivability, but that moment when they switch to that Goliath, when they're just about to get that kill. That's a pain point.
It's infuriating. It's like, that's why you miss the kill on Necros, whereas with Wardens, you never even get them close to begin with. No. They just never get there in the first
Wardens,
place.
you just beat on them, and you may get them to 60, 70% health.
It's like they forgot to look at their health bar for a few seconds. They're like, oh, crap, I'm like 80%. I better hit a heal or something. Like, like forget to glance down there once in a while. Like, oh, man, I haven't looked at my health bar in like 5 minutes. It's getting a little low. So I would say closely behind Stamina Necromancers would be Magicka Necromancers for number 6. Primarily, I think because of the support that they can provide to their team. Yeah. I think that's the primary thing that they bring to the table. I think they are the primary rival for Magicka Wardens in terms of group support. If you're not going to bring a Warden, could you bring a Necromancer instead? Then is that that I would settle for a Necromancer for sure.
Yeah, and it's a trade, because it's not not that they don't have good support, but you're really trading that overpowering support for a note I have is that Mag Necro is the best CC in the game.
Oh yeah, if you just want a CC bot, there's no substitute. Absolutely. They're the best at that. They also have very, very good heals. It doesn't always show up on the scoreboard. We've talked about it a dozen times. So I would say in terms of killing power, I mean, they can have killing power, but in the hands of most players, mine included, they lack killing power. Now, Davius, we've seen a particular player.
Oh yeah.
That is a very strong exception.
A living legend of magCro.
The best magCro I've seen in a battleground. I haven't asked for their permission to use their name, so I won't say their name. But if you've done a lot of battlegrounds, if you've ever seen a magCro that's just wiping every team over and over and over again, it's probably this person.
Yeah.
It's the old graveyard synergy, I assume with Harmony jewelry build. I've tried using this build before, and I know it can be very, very powerful, but it is extremely difficult to actually land that combo and get someone trapped in it.
Not for this player.
Not for this player, man. He gets it every time, and he manages to get it where he just got everyone in your group, man, in one single shot. And I mean, Davis, you play tanky characters, you know. It's not like we're running around just being all squishy and dying real easily. That's just an incredibly powerful combo. It'll kill almost anybody, but it's so difficult to land. And that synergy, that graveyard synergy, I think is on a 20-second cooldown. So it's kind of like waiting for a whole other ultimate. You know, you got to be really judicious about when exactly you choose to try to go for it, because you're going to wait a while to even try it again at all. And this dude he picked the right time every time. And,
I mean, we'll have BGs, and we even know the name now, and we'll even say, "Oh, okay, he's in here. Be on the lookout for it."
Yeah, we're even ready for it.
Still gets us 3, 4, 5, 6 times. You just there's nothing you can do. You just give him a round of applause. You're just like, "Wow, master,
yeah, bravo,
well done,
dude!" I let my guard down for like a split second, and that was it.
Oh yeah, it's impressive.
So they can. The potential is there, but I think. It's good. It takes a lot of practice and a lot of skill to make it happen.
Yeah, I've never seen another player be that.
That's the only MagCro I've ever
yeah.
felt threatened by.
He goes on the shelf. There's certain characters we see in a BG, so just will be immortal for certain reasons. I'm putting him on that shelf. The other one on that shelf is that dang skeleton tank in the BG that was jumping around.
I need to start like whispering these people and ask for their permission to like shout them out on the show, but positively, of course.
That player, you know, we've talked about him on here before.
The only useful tank I've ever seen in a BG.
he was the perfect body block for his team. You could not hit his teammates. He was in your face all the time. He was impossible to kill.
He managed to be in all of our way all the time. Yeah. And could not die. It was a Nightblade.
Yep, he was a master. He had that little skeleton polymorph, which just somehow made it even more infuriating that you couldn't get past him.
And he was jumping up and down the whole time, like just laughing at you.
Yes. It's like he was mocking you as you couldn't get around him.
And you'd be like, forget this guy, and then go focus one of his teammates, and then like you blink, and it's no longer his teammate. It's like it's him again.
He's like, jumping up in front of you again. Like, what is happening? I can't shake this guy.
Oh man, yeah. Dude was seriously the only time I've ever seen a pure tank like win a battleground for his team. Like 0 kills.
Yeah, just couldn't. He just absorbed all the damage. Yeah, that match was crazy. I think we. It's been a while, but our team had just crazy damage, but it was like 2 total kills.
Yeah, those kind of matches they can be fun. They can be intense where it's like, there's like 4 million damage like happening in there, but like hardly any kills. Like maybe like a 5 and 3 is like maybe the best performance in the whole match.
Yeah.
So Magic and Necromancer number 6. I think they're very, very good. Like I was saying about Mag Wardens, if a Mag Warden's on your team, you're probably going to win. You know, it's also pretty true for magCro unless there's a Warden on the other team. You know.
Yeah.
Magicka Templar number 7. I would say Magicka Templar is like the exact middle.
Yeah, that's the list. That's the note I have. They are the median of classes. They're the median class right now.
Yeah, and that's not to say they're bad at all. I think MagPlars are in an incredibly great spot.
Yeah.
And what I like about them kind of being in this middle is it's really perfect for how they operate. You know, I think they're kind of equally good at offense and defense, you know, like providing group support, lots and lots of heals, and racking up lots and lots of kills, doing lots of damage as well. They're kind of equally good at both, and I find that they do fall kind of in this middle area as far as like how many of them I see out there, how effective they seem to be. That
median description, or that, middle of the road description, it's by no means a negative, like you said, but they've got They've got good support because they've got the Magicka. You know, they have the Magicka built in, and Templar's got good support abilities. They have good damage, and they have good AoE with the Jabs ability. Jabs gives both good damage and AoE. They're a good all around build right now, and there's a lot of different ways that you can build them and still be effective with it. You know, you can even make a pretty good ranged
Templar if you want to.
Very much so.
Yeah. And they're easy to play. I would say as well. Like that's another like really strong thing in their favor, especially like someone who maybe is newer to PvP or just kind of wants something that doesn't require a whole lot of intricate setup and combos and stuff like that. Like with a MagPlar, it's pretty simple to play. You just gap close and jab for the most part.
That's our recommendation to new PvP players. Yeah. Go get yourself in a jab off.
Yeah.
Get you a good old fashioned jab off.
I had hoped we were done with jab offs. So yeah, dead middle of the list, number 7, MagPlar. I think they're in a great spot. MagPlar's been one of the main characters I've been playing with here lately. It's been my go-to, really, really fun. Right below MagPlar, maybe I'm biased. I don't know, but I feel like this is a pretty good spot for Stamina Templar, number 8. Just slightly below the middle, right? Just like not low, not super low on the list, but technically below the average, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think they fit right there in that spot. Just kind of basically what we said, they still have Jabs, which is a fantastic AoE. And on on a stamPlar, you can really jack that damage up, get it real high, and so that you can get a stamPlar hitting really hard right now.
Stamina Jabs is almost a different ability from Magicka Jabs because, like, just by nature of being a stamina spec, you can crank that damage, biting Jabs, the stamina morph. On my stamPlar, I think the tooltip totals like 19,000 damage, and then you factor in the burning light passive, it's well over 20k damage for a main spammable.
And it's a simple rotation on stamPlars. You throw in the power of the light, and then Jabs, and then maybe throw on our stamPlars we have the back bar poison injection, but.
Master bow,
Master bow.
I mean, really, it really is just like power of the light and Jabs.
Yeah, that's your rotation.
Like an ultimate. Yeah, and then whatever else you want to throw in there, like we have a Master bow, and you might stun them at some point and throw in an ultimate or whatever. But really, Jabs is most of it.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that I think is really great about stamPlar is they have a really easy bar setup. It's really easy to fit everything you need on the bar because they just have such a nice, tidy, succinct little package. Jabs, for example, is your main spammable, and it gives you your major crit buff. So you don't have to worry about getting that from a potion or any other ability. You just already have it. And also your armor buff, the rune, is also your primary sustain ability as well. So those you kind of get to double up on that bar slot there in a couple of cases. And the fact that Jabs is most of your offense, you don't really have to try to pack a whole lot of other offensive abilities in there. It's just kind of maybe power of the light, maybe a couple of other things if you want. Just kind of depends. It's just super easy to. I find myself on my stamPlar, like I have at least two slots that I could easily just delete and probably still feel totally comfortable playing my stamPlar.
Yeah, maybe the only class that I feel that way about too is that you actually have extra bar slots for abilities that you can kind of tinker and play around with, but that's usually pretty rare for a character.
And just as a Stamina Templar main, I kind of like the fact that stamPlars are in this area of the list, like just slightly below the middle. It's nice because nobody's accusing me of being carried by my class. Nobody's saying anything is OP or anything like that. When I have good success, it's because I played well. It's because I earned it, and I enjoy that. And I have success on this character more now than ever before. I think stamPlar, as long as I've been maining a stamPlar, this right now is the best they've felt.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to with old Betsy. Anytime you go into a match, it's It's always going to be worst case scenario. It's an above average performance.
Yeah, for sure. So that's stamPlar number 8. Number 9. This one is a surprise for me. I think Stamina Nightblade has been performing extremely well here lately.
Yeah.
If we had a most improved award, it would go to Stamina Nightblade.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, they
just pat on the back. Good, bravo, guys. You've made it. Welcome to the big leagues. You finally made it.
I mean, the gank is real right now. When's
the
last
gank is
time?
Real. I'm writing that one down.
That's the episode title. The gank is real. When's the last time that you've actually had to worry about getting ganked in a battleground? I mean, it's been forever.
Yeah, like Flames of Ambition patch is kind of when it started,
yeah.
I think. Like the patch before that, I guess you still had to worry about it, but it wasn't Nightblades doing it. It was proc sets that Nightblades were wearing that were killing you. You know what I mean? So it was hard to say that like Stamblades were doing great. It's just proc sets were doing great.
Right. But it's a real worry in battlegrounds right now. I mean, it's if you catch yourself kind of by yourself in a battleground, your team's kind of running ahead, maybe you're dragging behind a little bit, and a Stamblade comes out of stealth and starts ganking you, it's a real fear. When not that long ago, it seemed like, if that happened, you'd kind of laugh a little bit. Be like, oh, look what this guy's trying to do. And now it's like, oh, frick.
They can hit so hard right now. And what I like is they can play like a Nightblade. It's not like we see all these Nightblades out there trying to play as brawlers and trying to like find ways to compete with DKs and things like that. They're playing like a Nightblade. They're using stealth. They're using these evasion tactics, and it looks like they're having a blast. It makes me want to dust off my Stamblade after years of neglect.
Don't you toy with my emotions like that.
Hey, who knows? Old Catface Johnson. It's too good of a name to sit on the shelf
Johnson.
Forever. They're doing extremely well. I think the only reason they're below stamPlar is because most of the time, in my experience, stamPlar just beats Stamblade 1v1 in a battleground because it's just easy anti-stealth with jabs. But it's good to see them doing so well. The stat increases, of course, have benefited them big time because Cloak uses Magicka. The teleport shade also uses Magicka. So really, kind of like other classes we've talked about, they don't really need to invest in their off stat at all anymore. So that's just more investment they can make into offense. And it's also pretty common for them to run low health pools as well because of their evasion tactics and all of that. So yet more offense they're investing in. And they are hitting so hard, man. Once again, I'm like back to the old days where that in cap sound effect is terrifying. It's been a long time since that's been the case. It's
really scary again. As soon as you hear that sound, that things are probably about to go south. I mean, they get such a jump on you that you very rarely can you recover now once they get the combo off on you.
It's rough. It's good to see though. I'm not even mad. It's like I can't be mad at Nightblades as long as sorcerers are doing what sorcerers are doing. I feel like. Nightblades are so much stealth is so much easier to counter than someone who's just teleporting 10 miles away,
We, as crazy as it is this sounds, we say this all the time, Battlegrounds. Give me 5 Nightblades instead of 5 Sorks. I would much rather fight 5 Nightblades right now than 5 Sorks.
And even the Shade, the Shade teleports the Nightblade away similarly to Streak as well, and it's really great for that. But even that doesn't make me mad because it's not like they can chain it together again and again and again. No. They have to place it on the ground, teleport to it, then place it again, run away, teleport back to it. It seems more fair to me,
Yeah, it's usually a really good play. You'll be up on a ledge.
Yeah, it's like a juke. It's like, man,
and then you'll go down and then they'll go right back up to the ledge and you're like, oh man, that was great. Look at him, right back up there. Well done. And then you work your way back up to the ledge.
They got me. Yep.
Yeah, and that is not the case when you see a Sork streak 7 times and they're across the map.
Yeah, it's not a sweet play at all, just spamming a button over and over again. Yeah.
You just see them disappear into the distance, and you're like, okay, well, I know he's about to be back in 6 seconds, but...
yeah. So good on Stamblades. Good to see him out there. That's number 9. Number 10, I would say, is Stamina Dragon Knights.
Oof. And this one hurts me a little bit to be this low, but I do agree with it.
Yeah, it's just if you want to play a brawler, StamDK just isn't it right now. It's Wardens or Necromancers, and they strongly outclass StamDKs in both cases.
It's just my stubbornness. StamDK, it's probably sneakily becoming my favorite class to play. Like I just love my stamDK.
They are so simple, and like I like the theme and the vibe of the spec. Absolutely. And
I, you know me with Templar. I got a history of Templar. I've got 3 Templars, 2 magPlars, but my stamDK is just I just have the most fun with that character, that build.
I can see that.
So I do agree with this. I think a big struggle with them is the mobility struggle with them. They have 2 struggles right now: the mobility struggle, and they don't really have class AOE. They just don't.
Outside of Leap, they don't have a lot of AOE. And also, like, I think, and it's such a shame because it used to be like totally the opposite, but they don't have a good solution for going up against ranged attackers, No. And I think both Necromancer and Warden have great answers to that. But DK doesn't. They just have to kite, and it's in today's meta, it's hard to just build tanky enough where you can just straight up tank it out standing there, unless you're a Warden.
Unless you're a Warden. I like that little disclaimer. It's like the fine print. Unless you're a Warden.
Yeah.
That's the truth, though. I mean, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That mobility is they don't really. It's kind of what I mean by that. They don't have the mobility to hang with good ranged builds when they're getting hit. But we're talking about magSorks. When there's a magSork streaking around and just hammering you, with crystal frags, on a stamDK, it's just tough right now. There's just not a lot you can do. It's, my stamDK is built to be tanky, and it's just, you just can't build tanky enough to just sit there and take those hits.
Yeah, and they can't, stack abilities to, line up this single moment of extreme burst the way the other 2 brawlers can, right? Like a Warden can cast Sub-Assault, get their ultimate ready, and really burst down a few people at a time by lining those things up. Necro can do the same thing with Blast Bones. With a DK, you're probably going to be, for all of these, you're probably going to be a Dizzy Swing spammer. That's for most of these brawlers, that's what they're doing. Yeah. And you really got to make those moments count when you're going to go for the kill. You got to be able to stack that damage and get that kill quickly, and DKs just can't do it. It's just Dizzy Swing, Dizzy Swing, Dizzy Swing, leap, Dizzy Swing, Dizzy Swing, Dizzy Swing, leap, and maybe put some dots on them as well, but that only goes so far.
I mean, and that's the struggle right there. They don't have that big time AOE burst, They don't have the Blast Bone, like you said, they don't have the Blast Bones or Sub-Assault. That's that really good AOE burst that kind of you can,
like delayed burst, I think.
Delayed burst that you can combo with other things. They just don't have that. So you're going to have to, they have dots that you can try to throw on there, but it's just not going to equal out to that same burst.
Yeah, and you can make a good, you could put Deadly Strikes on a DK and have a pretty good dot build for sure, but they still don't compete with the other brawlers, I don't think. Their survivability just isn't there, and the burst just isn't there.
Yeah, kind of how you were talking about, stamPlar. That's where I feel about stamDK right now, is that I think that's part of the reason that I have a lot of fun when I play this class, is that when I do have success on my stamDK, you can feel pretty dang good about it.
You can feel really good about it. Oh yeah. For sure. Certainly not being carried by your class in that case.
So it is a little sad to see it on the bottom of the list, but that being said, it's still right now, that's probably my character in class I'm having the most fun playing. Just continually.
Yeah. Well, that's still stamPlar for me. Has been for a while.
Yep.
So this one I'm a little conflicted with. Number 11. So stamDK is number 10. Number 11, I would say is Magicka Dragon Knight. Although I think I say this. I think I have said this on every single time we've done the BG report. MagDK's low on the list, but it's only because they're unpopular, not because they're bad. And I really don't think they're bad. It's just that they don't get a lot of finishing blows. You know, their kill count at the end of the match often isn't all that high, even though they might have 30 assists and, you know, millions of damage.
Yeah, their damage is right up there near the top. They don't have that, like you said, they don't have a finisher.
Yeah, like they get a lot of their kills stolen and that sort of thing. But, you know, I think it's not uncommon when you do see a good MagDK, like they'll be number one on their team in a death match, but they'll have the fewest kills. You know, they're very, very good. And I think if you're team minded and if you don't mind getting your kills stolen, you know, I think that's the way to approach it as a MagDK. Like you can put out a lot of pressure. They're very good at CC as well. And just kind of, you know, just keep applying pressure to enemies. And if, say, you know, be hopeful that you have a Sork on your team, or be hopeful that you have someone with some sort of execute on your team to finish those kills for the team, you know.
Yeah, they're very much a team build. And sneaky good support.
Yeah, and just by virtue of being a Magicka build, they have very good support. So they're not as bad as they seem. I don't think they're just unpopular because they don't get a lot of killing blows. But I think they're really good. I've been playing on my MagDK quite a bit. It feels really, really good. Like I said, I'm often, you know, have some of the best damage numbers, some of the most assists on the team, even though I may not have the most kills. Their survivability seems excellent right now to me. Coagulated blood is so strong right now. It is such a strong personal heal. And I'm just really enjoying MagDK. You just don't see a lot of them out there at all.
And I would even say you're really preferring your MagDK over your Stamina DK right now.
Oh, certainly. Yeah. MagDK is way more fun than stamDK, I think.
Whoa. Those are fighting word numbers.
I would put stamDK. The only reason I put stamDK one notch above MagDK is just because I see more of them. You know, I think just Stamina in general is more popular than Magicka.
stamDK is the party class. I don't care what anybody says. That's the class that's having the most fun at the party.
Yeah, you may be right about that. They're probably like loud and brash and like patting people on the back a little too hard.
The stamDK is the first guy doing the keg stand at the party, guaranteed.
They're like Robert Baratheon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're living life to the fullest.
So yeah, this seems like a contradiction. MagDK is near the bottom of the list, but I actually think they're very, very good. You just don't see very many of them. Now, at the bottom of the list, and perhaps deservedly, probably actually I think deservedly, Magicka Nightblades. And I think they just live at this spot for as long as Battlegrounds have existed. I think MagBlades are the worst. They're the worst of all.
the note I have is that they'll just forever be the PvE class, right? I mean,
or open world. They can be really great in open world, or in Cyrodiil, or in Imperial City. They can be pretty good, but just in Battlegrounds, man, they can make okay healers, but not as good as, you know. Maybe they're better than Dragon Knights at healing, maybe, you know. But their killing power just isn't there. I mean, they can do lots of damage. They certainly can do lots of damage, but their combo is highly telegraphed, extremely easy to counter. You don't even have to be a super good player. You know, you just have to have encountered a handful of MagBlades in your time, and you know what to do. Not that difficult. They're fun to play. I really like MagBlades. My first real main was a Magicka Nightblade, and I enjoy the play style, but I hardly see any MagBlades out there in Battlegrounds, and when I jump on mine and jump into a Battleground, I can clearly see why. I get by far the worst results of any other class, and I'm very comfortable on a MagBlade. Like I said, my original main, I've played literally thousands of hours on my MagBlade. Everything is just totally muscle memory, and still, the worst results of any of my 13 characters.
You've tried.
Yeah,
Nobody can say you haven't tried.
Lots and lots of times. Now, that's not to say, of course, there are always exceptions. There's a handful of exceptional players out there, and I've ran across some MagBlades that I don't want to see again.
Yeah.
There are good ones out there, but not very many of them. Not very many at all. And then, kind of honorary mention, we'll say, I guess maybe number 13 would be werewolves. Not a class per se, but a spec for sure.
Yeah, they're kind of like their own class. I mean, if you're seeing a werewolf, they're all werewolf.
They're their own thing. Yeah, that's true.
Where are they? Where'd they go?
Yeah, that's the thing is I don't really know where to rank them because I haven't actually witnessed their performance all that much in Battlegrounds. I really haven't seen enough of them to even get an idea of how well they're performing. I assume not great since I'm not seeing very many of them.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time that we've seen a werewolf in a VG.
So there you go. Really quickly again, magSork, stamSork, magDen, stamDen, stamCro, magCro, magPlar, stamPlar, stamBlade, stamDK, magDK, magBlade, and werewolf. That's the BG report.
There it is.
Well, that's not all the BG report.
Oh, wait. Save the plug.
Oops. Well, there's just a few more remarks to make here, but that's pretty much the class ranking. I think as I see it, as me and Davius see it. As far as stamina versus magicka, we had a whole discussion about this a few episodes ago, but just within this context, personally, I feel like stamina and magicka feel very, very well balanced right now. I've mostly been playing on magicka builds lately, and they feel really great, even though I think stamina builds, aside from sorcerers, are kind of getting the most kills for the most part. That's, as we've said before, as it should be. But I feel like now that procs have been toned down, the volatility of the battleground is so much less. I feel like my magicka builds can kind of breathe a little bit and just kind of let that healing power that comes with being a magicka spec do its thing, and you can kind of feel comfortable just kind of hanging out in a brawl and keep those heals going, even as an offensive spec character. So anyway, feels pretty balanced to me. Who knows? Who could ever really say if anything is truly balanced or not? But it feels pretty good in that regard to me.
I would say it feels pretty balanced. I think that magicka is definitely at a level we haven't seen it at for a while, and magSorks are only furthering that level.
Yes.
I would even say, I think it's important to note, depending on the battleground map, I would probably rather go against stamina players, just in particular the lava map or the portal map with the building in the middle, the kind of runes in the middle.
Yeah.
Those are tough maps if you're going against good magic players where it's just, there's not a lot of stuff to hide behind, or they can go through those portals and just unleash on you from up above. There's certain maps where I would much rather go against stamina players than magical players where they just have that range on me, and there's difficult places to get out of the way, or they're going to be up high, and you're distracted in a fight while you're just getting pelted from up high.
Yeah. The map absolutely can make a big difference as far as like which specs you prefer to go up against and which ones you don't. So anyway, closing remarks, I guess. Battlegrounds feel really, really good right now. I think really no matter what spec you choose outside of magBlade and maybe stamDK, you're probably going to have a pretty decent time. As long as you're, you know what the limitations of the class are, you know what their strengths and weaknesses are. I think a lot of times people try to, make this class play as though they have all the strengths of a different class, and that's not how they're supposed to work,
Yeah.
But anyway, BGs are cool, and that is the BG report for real this time. We've been playing a lot of BGs here lately.
Oh yeah.
I've been spending a lot of time in the solo queue, which is a lot of fun, but it spoils me. And on the couple nights a week, Davius, when you and I get together and we start doing some duos or some pre-mades, it's like, whoa, I gotta wake up. This is not the solo queue.
Things are different.
It's different.
I mainly have not been doing the solo queue very much, and you even said, you need to go and hop in the solo queue every now and then.
It's a good confidence booster.
It is. We had some frustrating, nights where we'd had some pretty tough ones, and you're like, just go and do the solo queue for a bit, and I did, and it's a much more chill battleground space.
It's more chill, and I don't know. It just feels like you can do a little something a lot more. And make no mistake, you run into incredible players. A lot of the players that you see in the group queue, you also see them in the solo queue. But it's like they're often kind of off by themselves, or if their teammates are around them, they're not super well coordinated. So yeah. I don't know. It's a lot easier to kind of make something happen in the solo queue. Obviously, that tracks. You would expect that to be the case.
And that being said, I still very much prefer group queue. That's still the bread and butter, and I very much prefer that. But I do think that there's at least a place for the solo queue for sure.
Yeah, I like the solo queue. It's kind of like, I think of it kind of like as unranked mode, even though there is no ranked mode. But it's like, I can just kind of jump in there. It's a casual experience. It's kind of keeping my skills sharpened, even though I'm not being super sweaty. That way, when I do jump into the sweaty match, I might have to get a warm-up match to kind of wake up and get ready to play for real. But at least my reflexes and everything have been kept in shape by playing the solo queue. I don't know. It's fun. They're both fun. I think I'm with you. I do prefer the group queue when I can do that. But lately, if I'm playing solo, I do play on the solo queue here lately. Mm-hmm. My main this patch so far has been my MagPlar Butch Mahoney wearing Heartland Conqueror, War Maiden with a sharpened lightning staff on the front bar, Maelstrom Resto, Ring of the Wild Hunt, and One Piece Vulcan Scoria. And that's the build, man. I'm really digging it.
Yeah. I can tell that this is your favorite build so far this patch. It's kind of it's got a little Betsy to it.
Yeah.
But a little bit of group support and utility kind of tied in. Not that Betsy doesn't have that, but a little bit more advanced version of that.
Yeah. I mean, Betsy has a lot more damage, but like this character has pretty close to that amount of damage and that support. And it's just so fun. Like when I've done 4 or 5 BGs with this dude and I'm like good and warmed up and I'm like in the zone, that feels better on this character, I think, than almost any other character, including my main, Betsy, because it is a MagPlar. It is a healer when I want it to be.
Yeah.
And with Ring of the Wild Hunt, and it's an orc. He's an orc. He's very, very speedy, and he has race against time, so he's just super duper fast, and it's just like constantly flip-flopping to my front and back bar, like between offense, defense, just at a moment's notice, just like from one global cooldown to the next. There's oftentimes I'll be in the middle of like 1v1ing or fighting an enemy, and I'll notice one of my teammates off to the side needs a heal real quick, so I'll just bar swap, Breath of Life, bar swap again, go back on offense. Just like in the moment, just boom, 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 like just making those quick little snap decisions to keep things moving along. Being in that kind of zone on this character is so much fun with the mobility on top of it. I can't get enough of it. Whenever I'm just looking at my character select screen and who do I want to play with, it's hard not to choose Butch Mahoney, my MagPlar.
You're getting great results with that character for sure. It's been going really well.
It's fun, and it's light armor. Heartland is in light armor. It's I think it's 3 M-Pen, 4 Divines. I strongly recommend it. Absolutely. What about you, man? Who's been your main squeeze this patch so far?
Well, so probably I'm gonna talk about my MagPlar. Not that my MagPlar's been my main squeeze, but talking on MagPlar.
Okay.
I'm not getting the same results that old Butch is getting, but I do like with the direction that my MagPlar build is going. I think that if I just give it more time, then I think it could really work out. I really like the build idea. It's just a little bit different, and so I think I just need to get used to it a little bit.
Is that the one that you put Clever Alchemist on?
Yes. So the build is it's 5-piece War Maiden, which that's basically the MagPlar set. Mm-hmm. 5-piece Clever Alchemist, 1 piece of Vulcan Scoria for the spell pin, the Wild Hunt ring, and then the back bar Maelstrom staff.
So, it's still very, very similar to my MagPlar, but you got that Alchemist on there.
Yeah, so I did the 5-piece Alchemist, and then I have 3 infused jewelry pieces with the alchemical acceleration. So basically, the Clever Alchemist, you can only get that. It gives you 675 spell damage, which is massive.
Huge.
But you can only get it every time you drink a potion, and it lasts 20 seconds. And you have a 45-second cooldown on the potions. Well, with this alchemical acceleration on the glyphs and infused, I can drink a potion every 21 seconds. So I can basically only have a 1-second downtime on that buff. Basically
full uptime.
Right. And
just keep your potion up and your damage buff is up.
Exactly. And that's a 1275 buff for all my stamPlar Magicka abilities, essentially, is what we're looking at there.
Yeah.
Which is massive. And so this guy, he can hit hard. It's weird to say, and maybe it's just me, but it's weird having a potion available every 20 seconds. Like, it really, going from, we jump from character to character, we do BGs, and jumping on this one, it's such a difference in timing that it really takes, it takes extra time to get used to it and get the timing down.
I bet so, because for as long as we've been playing, you just kind of get used to a certain rhythm.
Yeah.
You just kind of
memory. Instinctively
know, like, it's about time for my potion to pop up now, right? And then, yep, there it is. And I imagine that would be weird.
Yeah, so I still need to just give it more time to get the timing down, but the great thing about that is that's 675 spell damage. So I'm getting, my heals are getting buffed. Just like we've talked about with Magicka, this character's got good support on the back bar, and then it can really lay into the damage, when it gets going. And so, and I do have Wild Hunt on this build as well, just like your MagPlar. So we got good speed.
I love speedy MagPlars, or speedy Templars, really.
It feels really good. And so I am having a lot of fun with this build. I just need to give it more time, get a little bit better with the timing.
We need to do more double MagPlar action. That's always a great time, especially with these, because they're similar. Like, they're 50-50 offense and defense, and we can just kind of help each other out in whatever way is needed. We can both go double offense, double defense, or one or the other, and
both
just
have
mix
the
it
speed.
Up.
We need to do these together.
We both got the speed with Wild Hunt and Race Against Time. We also have Toppling Charge, so we're just like zip zapping. It's almost like playing a Sorc sometimes.
Yeah, and I have a note of that. The Wild Hunt ring with the ability Toppling Charge.
Yeah, and Race Against Time, like those three combined. Those
three combined just feel so good together. It's great.
You're just, because you're just slipping in and out, line of sighting, kiting, like, with the greatest of ease, and then that Toppling Charge is an incredibly good mobility tool. You don't realize how many opportunities you have to just gap close to some other enemy to get yourself out of trouble. It happens all the time.
Yeah,
plus the fact that it stuns as well, it's so good.
Yeah, so that's the MagPlar build. I would have to say that the build I'm probably, as you referred to, the main squeeze. Mm-hmm. The build I'm excited about, I would have to say, is my Magicka Necromancer, my magCro.
Uh-huh.
Just because this is a build that, when the patch notes were happening, I really thought I was going to have to deconstruct this build and start it over. It's the Never-Ending Nord. This is the one who's built on health recovery. Very impossible to kill. He's a support build. My stubbornness made it where I refused to give up on this type of build.
Because health recovery was nerfed heavily recently.
Massively, yes. Yeah. With the Battle Spirit buff, they now have a 50% reduction to your health recovery, which that did not exist before. And I do think it's a good thing. I do think that's a good thing. It was just kind of tough with this build. But I just doubled down on health recovery. So the build now is 5-piece Beekeeper, 5-piece Willow's Path, which I joke that I'm one of 4 people using that set.
Yeah, who uses Willow's Path?
The Gaze of Sithis Helm, 1-piece Trainee, and then a back bar Maelstrom resto staff.
How's that Sithis Helm feel?
I love it. I have tested this build out a little bit, and he is still the never-ending Nord. He's still very difficult to tank down. He feels by far still my tankiest character.
I've seen it firsthand. we did some BGs last night, and
yep.
it happened. It happened like it always does when we duo with that character. I died. It's like 19-second respawn time. I wait. I go get some popcorn and come back. I respawn. I run back to the other side of the map, and you're still there, just getting like target dummied by 4 people. They're like, "Oh, welcome back, buddy."
Love it. So let me just read these max stats, and these are no CP in Battleground stats. These stats are just the juiciest stats of all my characters here. Just mad max stats here.
Mad max stats. I like that.
40,000 health, 40k health. 30,000 magicka, 21,000 stamina.
Just great max stats.
All the stats. 2,300 magicka recovery and 2,300 health recovery. And that's after all the nerfs. He just sits at a flat 2,300 health recovery.
Very nice.
So he's got, I will say his spell damage is, that's where his spell damage is low, and that's kind of where he's making up for, these stats and things like that. But with the support build and what he is, it works. His heals are still great. He still uses the mending, spirit mender. He gets good heals, good support, and that, that health makes him incredibly hard to take down with that health recovery. And as always, the fun part of this build is that I will throw, I'll pop that Goliath form because that
if you're already at 40k health.
Are you ready for this? 75,000 health in Goliath form.
That's too much. What's the AoE damage that you're dealing then?
So the AoE damage for that, it's based off your max health. So the AoE damage in that Goliath is 4,500 per second.
Wow. That's like almost like a Destro ult.
Yeah. So it's a lot of damage. It's nice to have just because he's very hard to tank down. And when they do finally get me down, I can pop that Goliath form. And then really, I need to look at probably deeper into the stats, but I would be willing to bet at the end of a battleground, probably 50, 60, 70% of my damage numbers are just from that Goliath form. Mm-hmm. And they're not bad. Obviously his heals numbers are a lot better, but his damage numbers always surprise me at the end of a match. I don't expect him to be as high as they are.
Yeah, because you're not really trying to deal a lot of damage. I'm not focusing damage
at all. He is CC, very CC focused on the front bar, and then just support focused on the back bar. And so I'm really not trying to do damage. I'll throw blast bones in there every now and then, but it's mainly just trying to do CC and support and heal the team up.
Yeah.
But he's worked out really well. Like you said, last night was a good round of testing for him. I kind of finally changed some stats around and really got it where he was feeling really good last night.
Yeah, I agree. He was feeling great. I think I was playing on Betsy, right? Wasn't I on Betsy when we were playing?
You're on Betsy, yep.
Which is a pretty funny pair because your MagCro is pretty slow.
Oh, he is super slow. He's moving like molasses. He's walking through a swamp.
Betsy is crazy fast.
I just imagine that you're just doing laps around the map, and every time you pass by me, you pick up some heals, and then you just go through another lap.
Yeah, I try to stay in a vicinity,
There you go.
Like at least 2 roll dodges away from the healer. But I don't know. I feel like I got to mention Betsy just because she's my main. She's still my favorite, and she's feeling really good. I don't know. That's Betsy. Stamina Templar, Bone Pirate, Deadly Strikes, Master Bow, Wild Hunt.
Like I said, worst case scenario, Betsy is above average. That's the worst case scenario.
she's feeling really good. Weirdly, she doesn't benefit, stamPlars in general, I don't think benefit from the stat increases as much as a lot of other specs, right? Like getting all that extra magicka. It's nice because I can spam cleanse more, but I don't really need to spam cleanse all that much more.
Of all the stamina classes, they use magicka the least, it seems like.
Yeah. Like I already, before the stat increases, I was already putting 0 investment into magicka. Yeah. So, that doesn't really help me out, but the other stat increases obviously are fine. And like I said, the spec, like we were saying during the BG report, the spec feels really, really good and is a lot of fun to play. And I think a speedy stamPlar is the way to go. I know that they're designed to be like a stand your ground, like paladin sort of tanky sort of spec. I think is kind of the way they're designed, but a speedplar works really, really well, and it's a lot of fun.
It does feel really good. You finally sold me on it, and I have crossed over into that side, and it does feel really good. I'm fully on this side of the fence now.
And then my Magicka Warden, Lola, I am extremely pleased with this character right now. There's a couple of patches there where I was like, man, my Warden just doesn't match up to my magCro. I don't know what to do. Well, now she has greatly surpassed my magCro in terms of group support, I think. Now, enemy suppression, that's always going to be the magCro's thing. Sure. But as far as just straight supporting the group, she's so good.
Just ridiculous heals. I don't want to know the truth to this, but I'm pretty sure your Magicka Warden, Lola, is the reason my Stam DK is the class I have the most fun with.
Because we always play them together.
We almost always play them together, so I'm pretty sure that my Stam DK is one of my favorite classes because I'm always running with your Magicka Warden. Yeah. So I don't want to know the truth if that is the case, but I don't... I just, I'm just going to keep pretending that Stam DK is fun no matter what.
We had someone join the chat. Dr. Professor joining us once again.
Dr. Professor.
We're a little late, buddy. We're at least halfway through this thing.
Hey, still counts.
Still counts.
All right. No need to worry about any streaks.
Hey, if you're gonna talk in chat, Dr. Professor, go up to that Scrollin' Podcast text channel. It wasn't there last time, but I created it since then. Be a little less confusing for people that are in the general chat that are not listening to the.
Look at this. We're getting fancy. This is next level right here.
Yeah. Got multiple text channels. The magDen build has been feeling so good, and I think this is the spec. This is the armor setup that I'm pretty locked in on. So it's 5 pieces Gossamer, it's 5 pieces Curse Eater, which is only complete on the back bar because Curse Eater only procs from direct heals, and I only have direct heals on the back bar, so no big deal to lose that from the front bar. And then it's a Master Fire Staff on the front bar and Mighty Chudan monster set. Of course, I talked quite a bit about Gossamer last episode and how Major Evasion is incredibly valuable because there's so many incredibly powerful AoE attacks that Major Evasion protects you from. So that's great. But since I've been playing with this build more since then, I've really come to like Curse Eater almost equally as much as Gossamer.
That's one thing that I have to say about your Magicka Warden is that not only are the heals just through the roof, they're just crazy heals. There's so many times where I almost will just put my hands up from the keyboard and mouse when I'm playing, and I'm just like, all right, I'm dead. Here it is. And then I'll just look at my health bar and be like, well, wait a minute. No. Oh, no, I'm still alive. And it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to live through this. Heals are ridiculous. But at the same time, those heals are crazy, but there's so many things that are adding to the tankiness of my character that your Magicka Warden is giving. While at the same time putting enough pressure damage-wise to keep people honest, I think.
Yeah, definitely helps. She doesn't get a lot of kills of her own, but she's definitely gets a ton of assists, and she's in there damage-wise. She might get a million heals and 500k damage that match. But Curse Eater, man, it's so good. It cleanses, I think, 3 negative effects every 8 seconds per target. And it's just like, it's basically, it seems like it's guaranteed almost every time I need it. Like if someone has a venomous smite or a haunting curse or something on them, I just heal them and it goes away. And it's so nice.
Venomous Smite, Haunting Curse, and Vadishrend Destro. Those are the 3 that I love that Lola's just cleansing off of me.
Vadishrend Destro can be cleansed now also. Oh, yeah. Very, very nice. You better believe I cleanse it off every time. That thing does not stick to me. I've been maining only characters that have cleanses. So, so yeah, that's great. I think for support, Gossamer and Curse Eater, that's about the best combo I've found. I could see like Spell Power Cure maybe taking the place of Curse Eater. That could be a good substitute. But I could do that, but I've just kind of made the decision like I want more defensive buffs in my build rather than more offensive buffs. Just for fun, I don't know, it might be terrible, but just for fun, we need to take Lola and my main Magicka Templar healer. We need to just take Lola and Davis into battle. Just troll a battleground. Just see if we could just get 2 full out damage dealers. They wouldn't even ever have to think about heals. They would have all the defensive buff, the cleanses, the ramp up in damage. That would be pretty hysterical. Or what if you made a Magicka Warden and then we doubled those up? I've told you I can't make a Magicka Warden because I am terrified I'll never play Davius again if I make a Magicka Warden. You gotta make a magDen. I'll hop on and it'll be a support and then I'll play like 3 battlegrounds and be like, well, there's just no point. Just gonna delete my main now. There's no point to my main. He's just inferior in every way, so that was awesome. Gosh. That probably will happen because as much as you like supports, you would love magDen. It would put him to pasture. You'll do it as soon as you think of a good name. It'll happen. I know. As soon as the name, you can't resist a good name. I do have to talk about I do have my magDK. There's been some name changes. There's been some struggle with names, but we've settled on one in case for all those out there worrying about it. The Bald Scald. Great name. It's my magDK's name. The Bald Scald. It's locked in. What level? What level is he now? He's in the teens. I'm kind of leveling him up slowly. You know my style. For whatever reason, when there's an experience event going on, I don't level. I just don't think about it. And as soon as the experience event ends, then I'm hopping on and doing and leveling. It's just the worst. The worst strategy ever is how like you intentionally avoid grinding, or it's just you don't think of it until it's over. No, I just don't think about it. It's like I don't start. It's like I don't log in and go, you know what, I'm gonna level this character, and then I log in, and then I'll look, and it's like the event ended yesterday, and I'll be like, well, dang. That would have been nice. Yeah, that would have been helpful. The experience of it. Yeah, man. So I think that's the builds we've been playing with. We already talked quite a bit about Blackwood at the beginning, but just to kind of circle back around, Davis, you finished the story. You finished the whole entire zone. Give us just kind of a general impression. What do you think? How are you feeling about the expansion? I really like it. I will say the main quest line really ramps up for me. I would say like the first 75%, it was just kind of, this is fun. It's kind of average. But the last 25% of it, I had a lot of fun and got really into it. I thought that was really cool. Okay, I think I'm kind of coming up on that right now, and I've been enjoying it so far. So I'm looking forward to what's coming. Without giving it, I'm not going to give any spoilers away, but I highly recommend and that you do the side quests, do all the side quests before you finish the main quest. Which I have to point out, I really like how the zone is kind of designed because I just naturally did that. I actually naturally finished all the delves and side quests just by kind of, finishing the things in the area. I kind of finished all of that side stuff before I got finished with the main quest, and so that kind of naturally happened. That's been my strategy, and I find the zone is laid out in that way really nicely. Like I've just been following the main path, and then when I get to an area, I just kind of do the stuff that's close, and then continue on to the main quest and then do the stuff that's around there. And I've just been completing the map slowly but surely that way.
Yep. It is laid out really well. But they no spoilers, but they do kind of reward you if you do finish the side quest first. That's all I'll say. So I highly recommend it. It does make it a lot more fun. So
side quests are so worth doing too. The ones that
really
I've done, there's a lot of really good ones.
Well, and great rewards in this zone. You get there's a couple. The sets in this zone are pretty cool, or at least interesting. And so I've been actually saving the quest reward pieces. Just putting them in the bank. I'll probably find a use for them at some point.
Yeah. Lady Laurent, we already talked about. That was a fun little quest, solving those puzzles and stuff. It was neat. It wasn't too hard, but it was fun to figure out, and it was silly. Heem Jaws, of course, always hilarious. That was a great quest line. Yep. I think Everly Sharp Arrow. When I found out that she was kind of the main NPC for this expansion, I was not super hyped. I'll be honest, but she actually really won me over. I think that this NPC is pretty cool. Actually, she's very upbeat, which I enjoy quite a bit. And I think that voice actress has improved quite a bit since we've first seen this character. I think some very good voice acting. I like the updated costume as well. I'm not sure exactly when they updated the costume, but it's a major improvement over the old one. And I don't know. I ended up enjoying that NPC a lot more than I was expecting to in the end.
I thought it was a good main NPC. I think it worked out really well. I will say, and maybe I'm alone on this, I honestly was not crazy about the Daedra lady. Laurent?
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen a ton of her so far. I usually like her, but she's interesting. She's kind of funny, but I haven't seen a ton of her so far, just like a few times.
I wasn't crazy about her in this thing. I mean, it wasn't bad. I just thought I just wasn't overly impressed with her. But overall,
I like how she's kind of amused by mortals, but she's also totally a Daedra and might kill you any moment just for her amusement.
That is very much her style. That is true. It's very much her style. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with the zone. It's did get it all finished. Time to move. It's time to head back to East March for me. But
it's cool mucking about in Argonian land. I like all the Argonian stuff. It's neat. And it's cool to see Argonians kind of get a proper expansion. All they've really gotten so far is Murkmire, which was a Q4 DLC.
Kind of overlooked. Felt like a lot of people overlooked it. Also, that was a very unpopular patch as far as PvP balance goes. It was a dark time. The dark times. The Murkmire times. I do have to say, companions. I know you don't have one yet.
Haven't unlocked one yet.
I'm having fun with it.
You're enjoying it.
It's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it. I'm not, really maining it or, just really putting a lot of time into it, but it's a nice little side thing. I've actually unlocked it with a couple of my characters. There's a couple of cool things. So the number one thing I'm having the most fun is the companions' look. I'm making them match my character that has the companion, but not put them in the exact same gear.
I would have assumed that would be your main thing.
That's my strategy. Yeah. They have to match, but it can't be the same gear. And so that's been fun.
Right, it complements your character, but it's not a copy.
Exactly. But I really like kind of the way they've done it. So when you unlock a companion with a character, you can go and set their costume up and give them a mount. Well, then when you unlock it with a different character, you get that same companion at the same level with the same gear, but you can create a totally different look and mount for them, and that's only based specifically to the character.
Okay.
So when you log in with a different character, it'll automatically pull those different looks for the character, and I thought that was really cool.
But they'll have the same build, essentially.
Same build, same level, and even same... I can't verify this one, but I'm pretty sure from looking at it, they have how much they like you. I think that's shared between your characters, too.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
At least from what I could tell, that seemed to be shared for me. I could be wrong on that specific one, but I was looking at it, and it looked about the same. And I'm a little bit higher than where you started. And
does yours like you?
The same. A little bit.
Okay.
I have the girl. I think her name is Miri. I could be wrong on that, but I thought she was the cooler of the two companions. I think she likes me. It seems pretty difficult to move that meter. I do know that if you accidentally grab bugs out of the air, which I accidentally all the time do, she gets very mad about that. So that was kind of a bummer.
That's funny.
Anytime I'm like opening doors and a bug flies in front of it and I grab the bug, she's always real disgusted. And I'm always like, ah, dang it.
Does she just feel sorry for the bugs or what?
I think she's grossed out by it. I think that's what it is.
Okay,
like
just don't. She doesn't like you touching the bugs.
Yeah,
like, don't shake my hand.
Yeah, she's grossed out that you're grabbing bugs and smashing them up and getting their like. All
I
bits
see.
And stuff.
It's like
but
a clean thing.
I've never purposely grabbed a bug out of the air in this game ever, but I bet I've grabbed 1,000 of them on accident. So.
Wow, that's amazing. I don't know. I definitely haven't done that 1,000 times.
I'm always accidentally doing it. I just,
I've grabbed a few, like maybe we're trying to loot a flower or something, maybe.
There's always a bug that flies in the way.
Yeah,
I've probably already done it 10 times with her on accident.
That's pretty funny. I haven't gotten one yet. I'll do it. Whenever I stumble upon the quest that gives it to me, I'll do it and mess around with it, but I'm not in a hurry. I don't anticipate getting super into it, but I'll check it out.
I've had a lot of fun. Also, just for fun, I'll go around and kill the Rift and East March world bosses. I'll just kind of go in a rotation, and it's kind of nice just having an extra little bit of DPS as I'm going through the boss. I can notice it. It's
you do notice
huge.
It. Okay.
I do notice it. I can't tell if I notice it. Probably how I more so notice it is when they pull aggro of the boss off of me. It's kind of like a little breath of fresh air for the fight.
Have you noticed, is there a taunt? Or can you give them a taunt?
I haven't looked at the guy companion. I'm almost positive you can, because you can give them different weapons, and so I'd be willing to bet.
Oh, Dr. Professor says yes. There's an undaunted skill that does.
So if you did if you can unlock the guilds with them, so Undaunted, Mage Guild, and Fighters Guild, and if you do those quests, you can unlock new skill lines for them. And as Dr. Professor just said, the Undaunted skill line has it, and that's what I was going to say too. What he just said. I bet.
So they have access to those skill lines, or is it like a special version of those skill lines?
I think it's a special version of those, but they also have access to special versions of the weapon skill line. So depending on what weapon you give them, it gives them different abilities there as well. It's pretty vast on the customization there.
That's good. That sounds pretty cool. I would like it if. I haven't tested it for myself, so maybe we'll see. But from what I hear, it's like their power potential is quite low. So I think that's really the main thing that's like keeping me kind of cool on this. But if you could actually get a little something out of them, if they could actually be a somewhat effective tank, I could get into that for sure.
You need somebody just to take a beating while you just DPS. There you go.
Dr. Professor says you actually have to do the mages, fighters, undaunted dailies and stuff to level those skills up. I wonder if you can purchase them for your companion like you can for yourself. God, that would be such a waste of crowds, though.
I'd be willing to bet you can't do that.
Probably not.
I'm curious to see how quickly, like, is it an incredibly slow grind, or if I wonder if that goes relatively quick. I've not
the same as your
those.
own character.
I've just done the regular built-in companion abilities, and then I have her with a bow, and so I've given her the bow abilities. But I've just kept her action bar with that so far.
Okay, cool. That sounds neat.
I do have it where she can heal me, which is nice when I'm fighting the bosses too. She can throw some heals my way.
I think there's a possibility that I could get more excited about companions in the future, maybe as new companions are added, with or as they expand the companion system in different ways. Like, it would be great if you could like, say, use an appearance change token on them and give them a custom name.
That would be pretty cool. I just wish
even
you
like
could
choose like a personality for them and that kind of stuff.
Personality for them would be really cool. I just wish you could put helmets on them. I know that'd
be nice too.
I know that they didn't do that because they want to show off these companions, but it makes no sense to me why they want all these NPCs. Everybody's running around with these same two companions. Why do they want all of these exact same people looking around? Like, if you could throw helmets on them, at least it's gonna
Seems like something that will likely be changed later. Yeah. I would think.
I need two things. I need a helmet on the companion, and I need a Nord companion. I need that to happen.
Oh, it'll happen. We'll get Nords, we'll get Khajiit, we'll get Argonians, I bet.
It's gonna happen. I'd be willing to bet that they'll probably do it by race as they start releasing them.
So, yeah, that's kind of our impressions of Blackwood. I've been enjoying it. I'm looking forward to finishing it up. It's a pretty good expansion. There's really not much else going on. There was a maintenance patch with some random fixes for quests in the new trial. They apparently fixed the block cost bug. That's pretty nice. They also fixed the item set bug. If you're not aware of this, there was a bug that basically disabled your 5-piece bonuses for your armor sets whenever you would port to a new zone. So you'd have to unequip the entire set, all 5 pieces, and then re-equip it to make it start working again. Really annoying. So that's apparently fixed. There's also a bug that affects a lot of ranged abilities where they have a much shorter range than they're supposed to right now. There is no mention of that in this patch, in this maintenance patch. So as far as I know, anyone who's experiencing those range bugs, I know snipe is one of the abilities. I know it's not an issue for you, Davius, with your point blank snipe.
I have not noticed that. That hasn't been an issue at all.
But I know I've seen people say that like they don't have normal range out of snipe, and there's some others. So no mention of that in this maintenance patch, and it's probably a minimum 2 weeks before we could expect another maintenance where it might get addressed then. So that kind of sucks. I've mostly been playing on close range builds, so I haven't noticed it at all. But I've seen a lot of complaints about it.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of talk about it, and it's kind of led me to stay away from range builds a little bit until I don't really want to run into that.
Yeah. So that's really all the maintenance patches. There's really not a lot of other news right now. Really, it's just kind of at a time where it's just time to soak up this expansion, soak up this new meta, do a whole bunch of BGs, and just get into it and enjoy this new situation that we're in. I've already, I can't get enough of Battlegrounds right now. I'm just doing them. That's why I haven't completed the expansion yet, because I keep just getting taken away to go do more and more Battlegrounds, because the meta feels so good right now. I know, no matter what character I pick to play on, I'm probably going to have a good time, more than likely, except my Stam DK. Emails and shout outs. I had to put that little jab in there.
You throw it back to this day.
Emails and shout outs. We didn't get any emails this week, but a quick shout out to Mowards and Starpulse. We were doing some BGs just last night, and we happened to notice midway through the match that those two were on one of the opposing teams. And I think before we really realized it, we had gotten into some fights and had we weren't so nice. But once we realized things, they just started kind of acting goofy, and we were just like totally ignoring each other and avoiding fighting, and it was kind of funny. And
it did create some pretty funny in BG moments.
Didn't they at one point where they like pulled out, like they did like slash loot or something like that?
Yeah, they pulled out like the instruments. I looked up top. They were up on a ledge, and they like had the instruments out, and I was like, "That's awesome." That's
we were all
awesome,
getting like mentally psyched up, like, "Okay, it's time to get sweaty. You ready? Let's go, let's go, let's go!" And then it's like, "Oh, it's Mowards and Starpulse playing music."
It was a good one.
So shout out to you guys. Sorry if we got carried away. I have a bad habit of not paying attention to nameplates when I'm fighting people. I just see a health bar and I go for it, and then I don't realize who it was until after the fact. So apologies if for whatever.
We gotta give a shout out to Dr. Professor for joining us live again.
Yeah. Thanks, Dr. Professor, for making this have the appearance of a legitimate production. You're in on the scam.
He makes us real. That's awesome.
We do have a guild named Students
Here we go. Everybody.
No, I'm going to be for real this time. Let's enumerate all the benefits to being a member of the Stoons Goons.
Gosh dang it.
You get to take up one of your 5 guild slots.
It was a setup. Everybody, it's a trap. Run. Turn around. He's setting us up.
We're getting a new guild hall, right? Did we get?
We do.
What's happening with the guild hall?
We got a new guild hall. It's the it's my permanent home now. I officially made it my permanent home.
So travel to player to Davius Starjumper, and that'll get you to the guild hall to at Starjumper on PCNA.
It's in East March, where it's where our home should always have been. Good old East March. We've got some good stuff in there. I still need to work. I'm still working on getting the crafting station.
I see what you've done here. I didn't realize it was in East March. You're sneaky. This would be a perfect guild hall, I'd do it if you want.
Yeah,
I'll decorate it. No big deal.
We're home, everybody.
Sneaky.
We do have we got a trial. We have one of those trial.
The full trial dummy, very nice.
Thank you. Yep, trial dummy. We have the well that restores your ultimate, and I will get this crafting situation figured out.
I got a transmute station too, right?
Transmute station. Got the transmute station.
Yeah, we got to get the students' favor crafting stations ASAP.
We also have a Nord guard that walks around in case anybody's worried about that. And
I only have 6 sets of students' favor in my inventory, so I need those crafting stations.
Oh, we got to get that. Taken care of.
Yeah.
But
probably Heartland Conqueror would be a more practical, but it wouldn't be nearly as funny.
I'm struggling. I'm probably still leaning towards students, just because, if we're gonna. If we're gonna do this, we're gonna go all out. But we'll see. I'm
Since
not.
When has this guild been about being
efficiency.
Practical or useful in any way?
The useful comment wasn't necessary. But yeah, check it out. Anybody has feedback? Let me know. You guys want things moved around? Let me know. But yeah, stop by, check it out. It is like 90% finished, decorated. So.
Students Goons, the guild, it's kind of a joke guild. We make jokes about it, but we do have a real community. It exists in the Discord primarily. You can email us at scrollandpodcast@gmail.com if you want to be a member of Students Goons or the Discord or both. The Discord is really where the action's at. It's where we have theory crafting discussions. We share memes. We just chit chat. We have ideas. We share. We have all sorts of just build discussions where Dr. Professor quite a bit here lately is like, hey, I've been thinking about what kind of build could I make with this set, and then we'll all just kind of chit chat about it for a little while, and it's a lot of fun. Seriously, I could do theory craft discussions all day, every day, and never get tired of it.
Too. I'm 100% there as well.
So it's a lot of fun. scrollandpodcast@gmail.com. I'll get you an invite to the Discord. We can group up, do some BGs, whatever you want there. And I think that's a podcast, right?
That's a cast.
Okay. Thank you very much for listening. We will catch you next time. See you then.